clap once in. Just like that's good enough. Hey, everybody, act real fucking crazy. It's the Super Suck Hour again. Oh, yes. The Super Suck Hour once again in the place to be. My name is the Super SUCKLORD, and we're broadcasting live from Fuzhou, Chinatown. Today in the studio we have Ghoul Supreme, L'Amour Supreme in the fucking house. Oh, Sarah Wang, the most creative person you'll ever meet in the entire universe, with certain limitations. The Suck Mom is back in the house. J Corp is in the house running the computer with the fuzzy sweater. And stunting on him again and into the future, Nasty Neil. Hello. Thank you. And yes, we are back. It's been an incredible journey thus far. We are on the 7th episode of this incredible program. We have taken over all of social media and knocked everybody off the charts, and now we're just desperately hanging on to the #1 spot. And that's why we called in all the big dogs again to make sure everybody continues to watch. We're on all the fucking stupid social media channels, the Suck Hour. It's not that difficult. I say this every fucking episode.
Watch or die.
Yeah, watch or die. And I'd like to give a disclaimer. Again, as usual, this is all fake. Nobody did any of this. We just made this up for the sake of entertainment, and anything incriminating you might say, won't be held against you in a court of law. Now, I would like to give a shout out real quick to all the people who graciously donated money to this show, because as you know, this is an exorbitantly expensive production, and I, once again, am personally on the brink of complete and total financial destruction. In fact, if this episode doesn't make me $25,000, I'm packing it all up, I'm giving up, and I'm moving to Oregon, and I'm going to go work on a fucking pot farm. So, before I read the names, I would just like to speak to all of you out there today, listening audience. I've been in this business for over 20 years. You may have heard of me way back in the day when I put out a record called Star Wars Breakbeats. And since then, I have continued to churn out content across all forms of media that have delighted fans worldwide. Now, if you have been a fan from Suckadelic from afar, and you have yet to make a purchase or donate any money to any of this stuff, stop watching now. If I have never gotten any money from you, then this isn't for you. You're cut off. Go to my webpage, go to suckadelic.com/suckhour and give me 50 fucking cents if that's all you can afford. If you can't find it in your heart to give me 50 cents to $1, then you have no fucking business paying attention to me. You think that Snapchat production writes itself? No. You think the Instagram is incredible because I got nothing better to do? I need to make some fucking money, and if you want to keep enjoying what I'm doing...
Send him money now, or he might move in back with me.
You better fucking pony up.
He might move back in with me.
That's really true. We are actually...
That is not going to happen. Send him a lot of money now, or I'll kill myself.
We're on the brink of losing everything. So I would like to have J Corp now read the list of people that have donated money to the show.
These following people have generously donated to the Suck Hour. Matthew Phillips. Kevin Malone and Chimera Studios. Donation for Snapchat. Artbot138 again. Cano Kid.
Hey, Kano.
Kano Kid!
Money. If you're not following fucking Kano Kid, you're a fucking douchebag, and we're going to get him on the show, too. Fucking Queens all the way.
Michael Pribich.
My landlord, who I happen to owe quite a bit of money to, was gracious enough to give me $40. And if that's not a vote of confidence, I don't know what is, because...
God bless his soul.
God bless his soul. Not to get too into it, but, like, it's fucking murder down here, rent-wise. Like, trying to hold on to this little fucking piece of territory in Manhattan, which is my birthright to be here. I was born and raised here, and I am fighting for my fucking life to stay here. And I can't believe the fucking douchebaggery that is encroaching on this fucking neighborhood. You got 2 giant Star Destroyer-sized fucking luxury hotels encroaching on Chinatown, and everybody's getting squeezed out. And a hometown boy like myself, who was on the fucking cover of the motherfucking Village Voice, can barely afford to even live in the village. So to have a fucking landlord that actually cares enough about art to fucking give you slack on the rent is fucking amazing. And give me some money so we can fucking pay this man. And who else do we have on the list?
Last but not least, we have D.B. Berkman.
You know DB? Breakbeat Science? Read that blurb.
D.B. Berkman, also known as DJ DB, is a British jungle drum and bass DJ who moved from London to New York in 1989. He was an early pioneer in rave culture in the US. Also, he was partly responsible for bringing drum and bass to America. He was the co-founder of Breakbeat Science Recordings and Store, the first record store in the United States to specialize in drum and bass.
Very good. Put the pizza on. Now, I was actually going to roast DB. He's a friend of mine, and he's a fucking famous guy, as she just read. And he also put out this really cool online book called Star Warps, which is like an unlicensed book about mashed up Star Wars art. And it's really cool. And you want to know how much money this fucking guy donated to the show? Take a guess. To get that big fucking blowjob like that? Take a guess.
$500.
$1,000.
Little lower.
Oh.
Like $57?
$350.
Lower than that.
200.
Lower.
What?
Keep going.
So a suck job's not that expensive, it seems.
There's a point to this. You know how much he gave? $2. $2 fucking dollars. Now you might ask yourself, why would somebody that only gave $2 get such a big fucking send up when people who gave $40 just got a passing mention? And I'm gonna say this because he didn't give the $2 at the same time. 1 week he gave $1, and then he listened to the next episode and he gave another $1. And I'm imagining next week when he listens to this episode, he's gonna give another $1. If everybody listening to this show followed this example, hey, we'd have fucking strippers in here, we'd have poles, we'd have lights, we'd have better mics, we'd have all of it. So I want to give DB props because even though the amount is not a lot, it's the consistency that I appreciate. He set an example for everybody, and I would like to thank him. Now, I know I've been talking a lot. We have to thank our donor. Today, I would not have eaten lunch because I literally have $1 in my bank account, but our friends over at Lasso Pizza, at, what's the address over there? Lasso Pizza donated a few of their artisanal pizza pies. What's the address? 192 Mott Street. It's a local coal oven pizza place, and I have a friend over there who from time to time supports the cause by sending pizza, and we got 3 flavors of pizza from them today.
Looks like only one pie over there.
No, we consolidated in all box. We got the pepperoni slice, we got a pear and gorgonzola slice, and then we got a classic margarita slice. And Nasty Neil is heating it up on the grill, and they're going to pass it around to our guests so we can sample the pizza while we talk about the important things that are going on in your lives today. So yes, Lasso Pizza, the hashtag Eat the Pizza at Lasso Pizza NYC. Their slogan, Eat the pizza, stay for the beer. And interesting note, they are one of the very few restaurants in New York City that are certified with a D.O.C. standard. What is a D.O.C. standard, J Corp?
The D.O.C. is short for Denominazione di Origine Controllata, a very serious mark that legally certifies pizza. The D.O.C. is a quality assurance label for Italian food products, especially Italian wine and cheese.
I don't know what you have to do to get that kind of certification or who you have to know, but it's one of the few restaurants that have that, and the fucking pizza's great. I mean, I grew up in New York City. I ate pizza my whole life. I know there's people that think there's no such thing as bad pizza, but there is such a bad thing as bad sex, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Pizza quality varies greatly in New York City. And, you know, this place is great because they have, you can buy by the slice. It's got the nice fucking thin crust. The thin crust is what I like. You know, I don't like that big Pillsbury poppin' fresh dough shit. I like a nice crackery crust, and these guys have great fucking toppings. So Nasty Neils are gonna heat those up, and we're gonna pass them around to our guests, and we can talk about it. So thank you, Lasso Pizza, for staving off complete and total death by starvation for one more day for the Sucklord. It is greatly appreciated. Look for some awesome action figure pizzas in their store in the future. Now, that's all the bullshit out of the way, and it only took fucking 7 minutes, which is a real record here. Now, I would like to focus some time on my dear friends, my guests. We have here Lamore Supreme and Sarah Wang, who have absolutely nothing to do with each other, have never met before, yet are people that are in my life, and I know them from the downtown art scene. I actually brought you here to talk about butt fucking,
Yes,
but
that's all I wanna talk
you're
about.
also an artist, and I know you. I met you at Art Basel. And I'm not going to give you a big backstory like I did to J Corp. When I first met you, I was trying to smash. But,
Of course.
but whatever. And I still would if it worked out, but that's not why you're here. I say that to pretty much every girl
You're
that
not the
comes on the
only
show.
one.
Yeah, I know. You're popular. You get to pick and choose. And I'm standing here with my number at Russ and Daughters, at Sarah Wang's, waiting for my turn. But that's okay, because the longer I get to know you, the more I feel platonic towards you, so it's not that big of a deal. But who knows?
Sweet.
I met you at Art Basel through the Con Artist people.
Yes.
What the fuck were you doing there at Con Artist? What is Con Artist? Are you still fucking with them?
Con Artist is kind of where I got my start. It's an artist collective in the Lower East Side. They're
Like you pay money to hang out with them.
Well, it's a shared studio space, so you go in there to make work mostly, but they have a front gallery space where they show its own members' artwork. So it's kind of like a self-promoting space. And
it gets pretty wild in there sometimes.
yeah, they have weekly openings every Wednesday night. It's 119 Ludlow.
What sort of work were you doing at the time?
I was making oil paintings.
Are you a
So-
photographer now? You do everything,
I
right?
am,
What
yeah.
are you? How would you define your work in a way, or how do you?
Well, now I'm focusing on my photography. I'm going to grad school for it, and my recent project is working with sex workers.
Okay. This is getting more
so-
interesting.
Yeah, I do a lot of documentary style work.
What's the angle?
Well, my angle is that sex work is work, and a lot of people depend on it.
Is there an activist side to this? Like it should be legal and stuff like that? Or
Right,
is
yeah, I believe sex work should be legalized so that
Is
sex workers
the
get protection.
activism part of the work per se? Or are you documenting? Because, there are people that have taken pictures, that go into India and go to the miserable
Right.
brothels and depict how horrible it is. But I'm assuming you're focusing more on the good side of it, or the normal side of it, or
The
what's
good side of it, for sure. It's definitely something I believe in. I feel like I support sex workers who are working independently and using it as a means to support themselves and to make a living and to, pay their rent.
I mean, it's any person's prerogative, I think, to do something like that, and there should be protections for people like that. It shouldn't be stigmatized, or at least not too much. If it's not stigmatized, it's not kinky, right? So, I don't know. Depends. It depends on what your thing is. How do you go about finding the subjects, or who?
So, like anyone in this age, I've been using social media. So I put out ads on Craigslist, Facebook, Instagram, just like an open call for sex workers who are interested in working with me and collaborating. Mostly, I want my photography to be able to support the workers as well. So it's kind of almost like a trade.
What do you mean? You give them money to do it?
No. They get to use the photography. So I give them the photos in hopes that they will use it to promote their services. So they can use it for ads or, just whatever,
Huh. That's very socially conscious of
And then
you.
I get to use it for my portfolio.
Where do we see all this shit? Is this like, are you doing a show with this, or is it?
Well, right now it's a work in progress.
Is this
so
what you're doing for
it's-
grad school?
Yes.
Okay.
It's what I'm doing for school, but you can
I bet
check out my
everybody's
work.
very buzzing around your shit, right? It's probably the most
It's
exciting thing
fun.
going. Well, it's fucking
Yeah.
sex. And also, I mean, how I met you through Con Artist, but I got to know you better when you had your own gallery on Henry Street, City Bird.
Right.
Is that still going on, or?
It's not going on.
You
Our
get-
lease was up,
Right.
but we actually referred Brian,
Right.
who is the founder of Con Artist, and he took over the gallery next door called Lazy Susan, and then his friend took over the gallery. So
Hold on, pass the pizza around so these guys can enjoy what. And then how's the pizza?
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like that pear slice. It's pretty interesting. Let's get a shot of this on camera. I ate this all day. This is like it's all chopped up, but it's nice looking pizza. It's like those long ones with the rough edges and shit like that. And they also sell regular Neapolitan slices. That's how I got to know you doing the City Bird Gallery. And that was the weirdest fucking art gallery. I mean, to me, that was the most fun I'd had, like, downtown in a long time. I mean, every time I went over there, it was a tiny little fucking space. at the ass end of Chinatown before it turns into the Jewish project buildings. I mean, one of those last little streets where you see brownstones before it just turns into, more the water pretty much. And every single week for a long time, you'd go in there and be something totally fucking different. I mean, I remember one time I went in there and it was a full-on strip club in there. There was a fucking stripper pole, there were fucking lights spinning, and there was fucking pros going up and down the pole and people throwing money.
That was my birthday party.
That was your birthday party.
That was my birthday
I have
party.
video of you on the pole too. We won't show that. It's on my Instagram. It's on my Instagram.
Video? Oh yeah.
It's on my Instagram, and the thing, it's funny, you still have your purse on. It's like, I know what boys like, and you're shaking your ass, and like, you're still wearing your purse. It was cool. But then the next week,
money and putting it in my purse.
yeah, the next week I go over there, and it's like the whole room is black, and there's like a fire in a garbage can, and this telephone to Satan, and just like all this weird shit. And then the week after that, or there's like everybody walking around naked, rubbing fire on each other's tits. I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I'm just saying. And then another time it was like all this Chinese shit, and a guy in there playing the erhu, so it wasn't all edgy, weird shit, but it's like, I was really...
You like the edgy, weird shit. You were like...
I did.
I remember one time you came to one of their shows, and it wasn't nudity, so you got mad and you left right away.
Well, you raised the bar so fucking high. There was like a couple of times in a row where there was just like, people getting naked. I mean, we had a really weird experience at that Brooklyn Wildlife Party where it was all those guys playing guitar and shit. I mean, it was a lot of cack swinging around, but, there was just all these naked people hanging out. And then, one girl got naked, and then she got a lot of attention. She got a little too much attention, but it was for the sake of art, so it was fine. But how the fuck did you keep that up for that long? I mean, you couldn't have been making that much money over there, were you?
It was hard. We weren't making that much money. It was kind of like this. It was an artist-run thing. It was me and my gallery partner, Shayna Yang. So it was mostly just us two. We started the gallery, and we had bi-weekly shows, sometimes one shows, sometimes one-day shows, but besides art shows, we also had events, we had parties.
I mean, I was just like, I'd never seen
installations.
anybody like just wring every last drop of value out of a space. I mean,
That's what we did.
Every day you were like, we rented the space out to these guys that are teaching you how to make a zine, or today we rented the space out to people that are doing like a stoned yoga class, or it was just like whatever. Remember that yoga class?
Oh my god, you came to all of those.
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I went to a lot of...
No, stoned yoga class?
Oh
Yeah.
no, my friend who's a yoga teacher, she taught a yoga class, and then afterwards we served chocolate-covered strawberries.
No, it was before.
Which were special chocolate-covered
It was before the class we ate it.
No,
I
it was
did.
after.
I ate it before.
You couldn't wait, everybody. You
You were supposed to eat it after. That was
And there
the
was
point.
champagne at a
It was
yoga
like a champagne
thing. It was
kinda,
fucking
like-
weird.
That's why I liked it so
mingle.
It was pretty fucking weird. And the only reason you stopped doing that is because the lease ran out. You must have got fucking exhausted.
We were really tired, yeah. And Shayna especially, because Shayna's like a true artist. She has to be making work, otherwise she's like miserable.
When she got sick of just running a space.
I mean, when you're running a space, especially with just two people, I feel like you just don't have time to be an artist. And we were an artist-run space.
And also, you're doing it in New York. I mean,
Yeah.
you had. I guess you probably had a reasonable deal because of that Bruce Lee Chinese connection thing or whatever, right? Didn't you have? Right? Didn't you have some kind of inn, some Chinatown inn?
No, our landlady. Well, we basically took over someone's lease, so their lease wasn't up, but it was in our gallery before that called Pocket Utopia. So we took over her lease because it hadn't ended, and that's how we got the inn.
Okay. And I just find it remarkable because it's like, it's like so difficult to hold turf down here. And it's just like, especially doing something weird.
Yeah.
That was fucking weird.
And that was the good part about being in the back alley by the projects, like we were like...
I know, and it was also because, there was shit going on out there, and the police never came, I don't think. Very rarely.
They rolled by a couple times.
But they would let shit slide, I remember.
Because they knew it was an art gallery.
Yeah, but I've seen police, if you were further up, and some of the stuff, just people hanging out, smoking, drinking on the street,
Right.
Like, if that was happening on Orchard Street, probably not as much, but...
Want more pizza?
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's fucking fascinating, and I just, whatever. That's how I know you, and I just think, I mean, I know scandalous things about you too, but we're gonna talk about that
later.
in the other episode. But I mean, I just basically wanted to get all that on the record. Now, as for you, this guy, how's the pizza? Yeah. I want you to say the pizza's good.
This pizza is banging. Good.
L'Amour Supreme. L'Amour Supreme. There was a specific request for you to be on the show. Somebody from the fan world reached out and said, why don't you put your buddy L'Amour Supreme on the show? And I listened to the fans, so I put my fucking buddy L'Amour Supreme on the show, and now he needs to fucking perform. Now he needs to fucking make that worth my while.
May I ask which fan it was?
Some fucking nobody on YouTube, I don't know. Somebody left a YouTube comment, but
Somebody liked his name.
And you just you judge your business decisions based on comments people leave on your YouTube?
no, I mean I was planning on putting you on anyway at some point, but
Oh, good.
I was I didn't have any ideas for what to do this week. Says let's just stick this asshole on here and see what he does.
Yeah, and that's perfect.
Well, now I have a complicated and rich history with you as well. I met you the first time at Toy Tokyo when you were a nobody.
Actually, it was High Five.
Oh yeah, no, not yet. High Five. Actually, no, it was at the showroom, wasn't it?
No, I think High Five was first.
Yeah, High
and then
Five
the
was
showroom
first.
was
Who the
after.
fuck are you? What are you again? You're that guy that does the thing. What's your thing?
I'm the guy that does the eyeball thing, the toy thing,
Yeah, it's your
the
buddy's
street art thing.
You wouldn't.
It's like I'm doing all these things.
I mean, whatever. You came up with Mishka, right? Like Mishka, the most famous clothing brand in all New York City, and for a third time in a row, I'm wearing one of their shirts.
Yeah, you're wearing the same shirt.
This is the last.
He's
Mishka
also wearing the
shirt.
pants. by
I'm
the
wearing
way.
these pants.
Yeah.
I'll give a little shout out again to Mishka, although I shouldn't. See these? I love fucking maroon pants. Ever since the days of fucking burgundy
Yep.
Lees, and you can't find those anymore. So every time I see
Little
burgundy
grape
pants, I
stripes.
buy them. What?
Rustic.
Yeah, rustic. I mean like a rich maroon, and nobody made fucking maroon pants, and then you guys did, and I regrettably only got one pair because they're out of
Yeah,
print
you
now.
gotta stock up on
And
that.
they have here in the little cuff of the pants,
yeah, the lining.
the little skulls
Pullover
and the
lining.
little skulls and monsters that you're so famous for drawing, and you drew that shit over all their T-shirts and everything, and it made everybody rich and famous.
I
And
wouldn't
now
say
you're
that.
just skiing down a mountain of cocaine on your own dick,
It's
right?
more like a pile of sugar on my own
on your
ass.
ball bag, yeah, on your ass. I know. Well, that's cool because that's great. That's opened a lot of doors for you. You're known in Japan for your fucking toys and your ugly monsters that are somehow compelling, and
True.
you always draw a lot of damsels in distress.
Which I love for the fact that they're neon, because I love neon.
Yeah, we know
neon colors, yeah.
that. Yeah, neon
If
pink
it's not
and neon
visually
green. those are
exciting,
fun.
then why bother?
And if it doesn't glow under
painting?
black light, then it's not art.
Yeah.
So.
Sure, here.
And yeah, so you're famous for that. So when you became my neighbor at the old studios, it was like, this is my opportunity to glom onto this guy and suck every last bit of juice out of him that I can get for my own self.
And you did suck a lot of juice.
I took you for a ride. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Nah,
Fun times.
we were neighbors for like 2.5 years on Christie Street. Oh shit, the heat went off for a minute, so like the audio quality is totally gonna change for the better, and then it's gonna go back on and we're gonna be
super
fucked
clear.
again. But if you give us money, we can get a real fucking studio. The donate button is on the website. Yeah, so you moved in next door to me, and you showed me your world. I never drank so much beer in my fucking life.
Well, it wasn't just my beer. It'd be people that came over. Like friends of yours, friends of mine.
I don't think I
They'd come
bought a
over.
single beer for myself the whole time.
Yeah.
What was great about having you as my neighbor is that I was like a miserable hermit, and you actually had friends. So when they came over, it gave my life some
It made
sort
you
of
come
depth
out of
and
your
meaning.
shell?
And we put out a lot of toys together. You know, it was great because like I'd be in there and I'd be like, I'm drunk, I got my thumb up my ass, and I have all these broken toys. I'm just gonna glue them together and put them in this box, but it doesn't look like art yet. So I'd go next door and I'd be like, oh, hey Lamore, will you draw something on this box? And he'd be like, sure,
That's
Sucklord.
exactly the way you asked me to.
And he'd
That's exactly what I did too.
and he just draws some nothing. Like, he just draws like anything and just draw on the box. I'm like, that's cool. It'd just be like a scribble, like a little sketch on a piece of Chinese newspaper with a broken toy. And we'd go on Instagram and be like, who wants to buy this? And people would be like, and throw money at us. And that's all over now because we got kicked out of that space.
Yeah.
And,
Rest in peace.
yeah, whatever. I mean,
Tough
it's
spot.
just a fucking it's a reoccurring theme that like just trying to fucking do this shit in New York City just is like you always gotta be fucking ducking because shit is just getting eaten up like crazy. People fucking are constantly going down. I mean, and it's just like I don't know. You're in Brooklyn now. Do you even work in that studio as much?
No, not really. I mean, like the apartments as studio now, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to work where you're kind of like living because you get up, work for an hour or two, go back to sleep, wake up later.
You like
on
to
again.
sleep.
Like,
You're fucking famous for that shit. I think it's great, but yeah. So that's how we're acquainted, and I just think that you make a really valid contribution to the universe, and that's why I keep you around
thank you,
because there's
bro.
still some
appreciate it.
there's still some juice left in there, and
There's a lot of juice, by the way.
yeah. Why? What are you gonna
Well,
do?
You know, I
See
don't.
it
I,
later.
creatively, I don't consider myself done. You know, there's a ton of stuff that I just want to keep elevating.
Yeah.
I know
How
hard.
easy is that for you?
No, it's I wouldn't say impossible, but it's definitely like a vigilant thing that you have to constantly be elevating what you do or be aware of your work while you're doing it. Like, how do I make this better? Am I excited about it being better?
What are you trying to do that's different? I mean, you have a pretty distinct and recognizable style, which you go back to often, which is fine. We all do.
Yeah.
You can also dip into other things. I've seen you do like, watercolory things. You could portraiture, even deliberately cheesy airbrush shit. I mean, you can kind of do anything.
Well,
what are you trying to do? Like, what would make you? I mean, because you make a living doing this shit too.
yeah. I mean,
so
I think the most important thing is like you want to make something that's really good that you can make a living off of.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the question, this is an ongoing question for everybody that comes in here that's a creative type, is like, how much do the economic concerns affect your process? Like, would your work be different if, say, you had all the money in the world, you didn't have to work for a living, and you could just do whatever you? How would your work differ from what you're actually doing now?
I'd probably just be taking on larger projects where I know I can fund it or I could pay for it, so it's like I don't have to worry. So probably the same thing I'm doing now, but maybe in a larger scale, where it's more like a public thing, interactive, like like I've always wanted to turn the old dark ride in Coney Island into like a
that would be
rotating art
amazing.
exhibit of
What?
like different
That'd be
artists.
incredible.
Like
So
the
it
old
would be-
Spookorama.
It's like
right,
it would
at
be the
Coney
old
Island.
Spookorama, but the Spookorama would actually be the rotating gallery for
fucking brilliant,
different
actually.
artists that would do like
Oh.
horror inspired dark ride themed art.
And you could do all kinds of shit with music and sound effects, and
Yeah,
even you could have performers in there too, running around in a fucking haunted house. Remember
Yeah.
the Spookorama in Coney Island?
Fucking brilliant.
You were terrified.
I love that
It was
fucking
very
ride.
embarrassing. My own son cringing in
No, I was not. But I was a baby. Why did you? You took a fucking baby on the Spookorama. I was like 4 years old, and you put me in this machine where there's like this day-glow guillotine where it fucking chops a guy head off.
I thought it was appropriate.
It's funny. It was so fucked up. I don't know. I remember. I mean, the Spookorama's been in Coney Island forever, and it's been refreshed over and over again. And when I was a kid, it was the Batman ride where they had like you'd go through in this little rickety cart and go around the track, and it'd go through the tunnel, and had all these day-glow monsters, and it was like see Batman, and you go in there, and there's like Batman. It's just this day-glow cutout of Batman going like this. There's Batman, cool. And then you go further in the ride, and there's this mannequin in a guillotine, and he's going like Batman help me, Batman, save me, and then it comes down and chops his head off. Like, Batman never shows
no
up.
literary sense.
What the fuck?
That's the most realistic Batman ride
Yeah.
I've ever been on.
Hey, Morgan, Sucklord, he liked the freak shows.
Yeah, I liked. I mean,
still
you like,
does.
Of course
you,
he did.
you like that shit. You trade in the
Hard to believe.
macabre.
He likes
Oh
the
yeah,
peep
of course.
shows.
I mean, like anything interesting, we're kind of like in this weird left field brain area. So, we like weird things. So we're gonna be drawn to those things.
I mean, I think. Well, everybody seems to be. I think everybody likes fucking creepy ass weird shit, and that's your fucking stock and trade.
Yeah, but it's not as creepy and as dark as people might think.
No, it's
supposed
actually
meant to
fun
be.
and playful.
Because I mean, like if anyone that knows me knows that I'm not anywhere near dark or creepy. I'm just like.
Yeah, you're
I
like
don't
the
know.
most fucking normal guy in the
I-
world.
I-
And
yeah, I
that
like
you're
having
almost
fun.
borderline boring,
Never
Never.
borderline anything.
No, I mean you don't necessarily match your work, and that's what makes it interesting.
Thank you.
But how about you? How do the economic concerns affect what you're doing? We touched on that a little bit, but I mean, if you had all the money in the world, what would you fucking do with your work?
I'd be traveling all over the world, shooting different communities of people, and
Didn't
telling their
you
stories.
run
which
you ran an idea by me the other day about some sort of like art stripper club or some sex club or
What?
something
Well-
with $1,000 bottles? What was that about? I have the text here.
It was more about throwing parties
Mm-hmm.
and as a means of making money, because parties make money. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot of organizing that goes into it, from booking DJs to liquor licenses, this and that. Promoting, but parties make money, and I know because I bartend, and that's been my source of income since I've lived in New York. That's how I pay rent. It's never been art.
I know, but it's just like we're always fucking struggling because I went to Flash Dancers last night. You know that strip club up in 42nd
yeah.
Street?
My
What
friend
an
works there.
awful place. I mean, my friend was working there. She's like another artist who was a little down on her luck, and she had to she turned to dancing to make a few dollars. And I went up there because she was like, "Come support me, help me out." And I was just curious, and I was curious to see what she looked like naked. So,
Wait, how much money did you bring with you on the intent of tipping her?
I went with $80 and I left with nothing. The beers were $14 fucking dollars.
Oh yeah, but 2 for 1, right?
No, it was nothing. It was whack. Like I like pumps in Brooklyn because all strip clubs at the end of the day are a money hustle. But some clubs are much better about not making you feel like a fucking schnook for it.
Yeah.
It's like some places, they make you want to give your money because you're having fun and it's working out and you're not even thinking about it and you want to spend. But this place was so pinched about it. It's
It's Midtown. Midtown clubs
it
aren't
was
fun.
awful. And it was just like, I went up there and like nobody's paying money, but I hated it. And like my friend is working there and it's like, why isn't there art on the walls? Why isn't this fun? Why isn't the music dope? Why isn't there a strip club that's also an art gallery, where the girls that are dancing are also artists, you can buy their work, and imagine like being able to work the room as a stripper, go to the clients and be like, want to buy me a drink, want to pay for a lap dance, want to buy my work, I think there's an angle there.
Hey.
I think there's an angle there.
You want to open a club?
That's what I was thinking.
I was also wondering, like, you go to a strip club, it's usually like either girls or guys, right? It's like, why isn't there one for both?
That's not a bad idea either. I'd fucking shake it. I don't think anybody would.
like, why
I don't
does it
think
have to
anybody
be-
would really pay for
I
it,
think
but
that's
I mean,
that's-
on theory, I would
I think
do
that's the most important thing is because, like, it's like you go to a regular male strip club, there's like that male gaze that's kind of like, I'm a man and I kind of feel uncomfortable in here kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly what it would be. Everybody-
And that's why it's like I don't.
Fuck all that though. It's like a new era now, and it's like I think all these things need to be solved through art, and we're going to talk about some of these topics in some of the upcoming episodes, just about loosening of sexual expectations and morals, and using and combining it with art and creativity and making it into something thing. It's like always so weird how it's always such a separate thing. That's why putting that strip club in your art gallery was so genius, because it really was an attempt to marry those two things and just
It
sort
was
of
fun, yeah. And we
Yeah.
had, besides the strippers, we had this puppet troupe from Puerto Rico, and it was
Yeah.
surrealist puppetry.
Yes, and they were naked doing the naked
amazing.
puppetry. I remember that.
yeah,
And
they're
then your
called-
friend did that bizarre performance piece where she took off all her clothes and like washed the floor at the end of the
Right.
night. That was the same night, wasn't
so
it?
the puppet troupe was called Poncili Creacion. They're from Puerto Rico, and they perform all over the world. They were at Art Basel in Miami, but they do surrealist puppetry, and they make these huge puppets and they perform with them, and it was like a penis flower evolving into a vagina, and like it was just
Yeah, I
crazy.
remember.
That was my favorite part.
Those
That-
guys
So,
really smelled
honestly.
pretty fun.
So are they nude while they're performing this puppetry?
Yeah, their tits
They-
were out.
they were in
I saw
costume,
a
yeah.
schwanz or
Were they
two.
were they using any sock puppets?
This fucking guy.
What do you say? What do you say?
Wait, I missed that part. Yeah,
I said,
well,
were they using
It
any
wasn't
sock
fun. It
puppets?
wasn't funny at
Yeah.
all.
It's
wasn't
like
funny
it's
at
a
all.
cheesy
I get it.
bit.
No, but I mean, I do remember it was funny because, there was women dancing on the poles and people were putting art and putting money. Imagine putting art in the thong, but they were putting money in the thong, and it was sort of standard thing. But then, what I thought was really weird is like your friend or somebody did a performance piece where it was like this
It
sort
was
of
Liz.
self-degradation
Oh, let me find her full
thing
name.
where she goes on the ground and she takes off her clothes and she washes all the muck off the floor, and it was like this interesting performance piece, but people are making it rain on that too. It was just like weird, like she's doing this strange self-flagellating art piece and people are like throwing stripper money at it, and I just
Maybe
thought
that should be an act. Like, if any strippers are out there, maybe that's like the new
I
thing.
think there's
Like,
so
I
much
think no matter if just
unexplored-
get naked and thrown out.
You're fulfilling two purposes: making money and like cleaning the stage.
that was what her whole concept was. So she did her performance last, and her point was to clean the party up.
Right.
So it was towards the end for a reason, because people were leaving, and her whole performance.
but I
was just
think
to
there was
clean-
more to
clean
it
Wait,
about
was
just
she
taking
performing
in
or
other
was she really
people's
She was
cleaning?
doing both. She was really
She
cleaning.
was really cleaning,
She had real
and she was
cleaning
performing
products,
at the same time.
And it was like
But it was
practical.
but
and
it was kind of about that though. It was almost. I mean, it's a performance art piece. You can make what you want out of it. For me, I really felt like she was sort of like making some statement about taking in everybody's dirt or like sort of absorbing all everybody's sort of negative cast off, or there it was something more to it than that. I mean, because she was moaning and like she wasn't, she wasn't cheerfully cleaning the floor. It looked like she was making it. She was taking in like energy or something like
Was
that.
she making
on the-
eye
I'm
contact?
sure she was.
I don't remember.
She was really into the cleaning, and she was a little nervous too.
She was really good, and it was strangely erotic. I mean, that's it. Really,
She's crazy.
no,
she's
it was
amazing.
Well, I mean, that's why I give you props for doing that. And what I just thought was interesting is like the stripper thing was cool, and that was cool individually. They're interesting, but the fact that they were all part of the same curation.
And there was sexy art on the walls.
Yeah,
if
there
you
was all that
noticed.
kind of stuff. So we're gonna build on this stuff in the future. We're gonna start this sex art strip club and go on. Now, I guess there's one more topic I want to discuss a little bit before we wrap up this episode, because we're really humming along. I got some hate mail on Facebook. I got one of my critics, one of my many
Somebody hates you?
one of my
Tell me,
detractors-
I will go and kill them.
one of my detractors went on the Clutter discussion board on Facebook and voiced an opinion about the Sucklord and his activities, and I figured I wanted to read a few lines on the air and just get people's opinion, because I think he has something really important. My friend from the Discordia Culture Shop brought this to my attention. You know those guys, they make the buttons and all that stuff like that. They're going to be a sponsor in the future.
I do.
You do, yeah. And what, you don't like him?
No. I just, I know them. I never had dealings with them.
Yeah. They made some of my buttons. We're gonna do more. But he's really involved in the toy scene, and he runs the Clutter board on Facebook, and he gave a very, very full-throated, very well-reasoned argument against why this guy was full of shit. But I decided to leave that off for now. If you ever wanted to look it up, it's on the message board on the Clutter message board on Facebook. I just want to read the guy's criticism, and we can respond to it ourselves. What's the guy's name? I think we got his name. His name is Tim
Wallweber.
Tim Wallweber, and he's what is he? He's a toy customizer and a Disney employee. So J Corp,
Says a lot about
Tim
me.
Woolweber.
What was that face, J. Corp?
By daring to
face.
criticize the super genius.
Let's hear what he has to say before we.
No, kill him now.
No, let's hear what he has to say.
No, we don't have
Hear what he has to say, and then we'll kill him.
All right, okay.
All right, Tim Woolweber, the floor is yours. J Corp.
He's everyone's problem that has actual talent, especially sculpting talent. He's like these wannabe great artists that throws paint at a canvas and calls it a Picasso, but never knew how to create like Picasso and could create and draw in the first place. He's like an elitist art gallery poser of the toy scene. But then I'm just not impressed with recasters in general. I don't follow those people because I follow talent. I follow inspiration. I detest posers and recasters and copiers like that waste of skin that made the giant Popeye statue copied from a toy. Good for them for making money, but they aren't skilled at anything else. Brand Peters is skilled. Amanda Vissel and Gary Ham are skilled. I'm not interested in the hustle. I'm flabbergasted that people are okay with copying other works and passing it off like they did something worth doing, like Liechtenstein.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. So he doesn't like Liechtenstein. Is that what
He
he's
doesn't
saying?
like Liechtenstein.
Okay, that's
He
interesting.
doesn't like any of us here.
Go on.
SUCKLORD makes direct recasting of toys that already exist, like the Pink Stormtrooper. It's called plagiarism. The toy was not his and was sculpted by someone else. He copied it for sale. There's nothing transformative about that. There's no statement he's making other than, I have no ability and I want to make money.
Ooh. This guy loves it.
Fucking right. He's totally
He's got a hard on for
He
you.
fucking nailed it. He nailed it.
Why don't you have him on the show?
I think we'll be done with him after this, but go on.
I see no message. I don't look at what he does very deeply, and it takes no to little skill to do it. Same as someone that splatters paint on a canvas or paints a canvas a solid color. So what? Not impressed. Sorry. I make something, it's mine to recreate and mine alone. One-offs are fine and are a compliment. Making multiples of something you don't own is theft. I don't care what the point is if you're doing something illegal and lacking in talent. Using such tactics and methods undermines whatever point you try to get across because you're doing someone else's work. It shows a lack of empathy for the fellow artist or creator. It shows disrespect if done in larger amounts because then it becomes about money and not some point.
That's it.
There's more. You seem to have the same view as Shia LaBeouf.
What?
Nothing should be copyrighted. Bullshit. Then what do creative people live off of? They just make things for the world and screw that whole eating thing? Creatives live off their works. Of course, culture builds on the past. Romans built off of the Greeks, but they were shoddy interpretations and cheap knockoffs.
You heard what he said about the Romans?
Yes.
Right?
Kill him. I said it at the
Does his
beginning.
You
nomenclature
guys are cheap
offend your
knockoffs of
Roman
the Greeks?
nature?
This is hate mail.
Okay, go on.
Bigoted hate mail.
Yes, it's
against my son. You are doomed. Doomed,
And
I tell
it's anti-Italian.
Yes,
It's a
every-
stereotype.
After we had the nice pizza,
Totally
we have to
racist.
listen to this shit. Get him on the show, and then we can offer him up as a human sacrifice.
Is there more?
Gay Empire is a stormtrooper figure. It's a direct lift, but in pink. Everyone knows it. That's why they bought it. Haha, gay stormtrooper. There's nothing transformative there. He does pass it off as a stormtrooper because that's what it is and everyone knows it. If I'm not mistaken, even the card back has Star Wars style fonts and design elements. But even that isn't a big deal. It is the figure as a recast. I don't have a problem with works based on existing properties as long as the artist does the work, changes it some if they intend on selling it. Recasters don't do the work. They just copy. They bring nothing to the table.
That guy's probably never made a mold in his fucking life. What do you guys think? I think he's right on the money, to be honest with you.
point.
I think he's called
He
me out.
misses the point.
I'm gonna
All
stop.
that is the point. He is a Disney employee, I believe I heard.
Yes.
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Try
Why
to
does
venture a
anyone-
guess.
Are we supposed to care what a Disney employee thinks? Get a life, shithead.
He's also a sculptor. He sculpts little toys and monsters and things, but he
I'm
sculpts
sure they're
them himself.
terrible.
No, they're good. It's well done. He can sculpt. I'll give him that. Yeah, he can sculpt. He's talented. He's got ability.
No, we have to kill him, Morgan. You're too kind.
I mean, my friend at Discordia, has this whole manifesto, this whole treatise. Maybe we'll get into this shit later. Just explaining the difference between plagiarism and appropriation and stuff like that. And that, is it the question that I've always had to face is because he's right. I am not a particularly skilled artist. I can't draw like him or take photos like her. I mean, I'm a good writer, and I'm good and I have good concepts, but manually I don't really have any skill at all. And I've bent over backwards to find as many different cheats around that, and part of that has been reusing found objects and reappropriating things to make my own statements. Whether those statements have value or not is a whole other topic, but I mean this is kind of an ongoing conversation, and I'm just wondering, I'm not gonna lie, yes, sometimes I do feel like somewhat inadequate as an artist because I don't have those manual skills, and that I have framed a lot of my business and my art image of this is a scam, like I'm hustling you, this is a bootleg figure, this is something haha, you're right, fuck you. I'm tricking you into buying this shit, even though I admittedly have no talent. But I think that's art unto itself.
That is art unto itself.
This whole thing is a giant piece of performance art.
The art hustle.
Yeah, the art hustle. In fact, I paid that guy to write this shit.
I was going to say, considering it's a pretty good copy for you.
You think so?
I think so. It's incredibly on point.
I would have
What do you think?
anyone to be really that hateful about what you do.
You think that's hateful, what he
Well,
said? It doesn't, I'll give him...
Distasteful.
It
It's
doesn't
like-
get
he's like-
personal.
Yeah.
He's arguing the merits of the work.
He's being honest about the merits of your art to him. So
You're right, and I appreciate that. I personally don't think he's looked at it quite as deeply as maybe he could have to fully understand it, because superficially he is correct. But I guess the question is
superficially.
If you take an object and repurpose it, is it not art because you didn't make the object, or?
Was there ever going to be an official release of like a gay stormtrooper?
No.
So if I wanted a gay stormtrooper, I'd have to get it from you.
Yeah, you would.
And there were people that really wanted gay stormtroopers.
Yeah,
no one else makes gay stormtroopers.
Well, the thing is, the stormtrooper is such a thing. The stormtrooper is a representation, I think, of the everyman in a way. Like he's the sort of he's just sort of a carbon copy thing that just sort of is a cog in the machine. And by taking a stormtrooper and putting him in different contexts, you're sort of bringing that frame of reference into that space. Like if I just made gay space soldier, it wouldn't quite have the same impact as if it's a gay stormtrooper because it's a stormtrooper.
You know what the problem here is? We all understand that, and that makes us weird.
Right,
we
do you think we're weird for understanding that, and he's normal because he sees right through the bullshit?
He's not normal, he's boring.
Well, I think he's jealous because I get a lot of pussy. I think that's I've had this happen before.
Wait, I know I'm his mother. I'm his mother. I'm prejudiced, but you are jealous and boring. And if you were in front of me, I would smash your face. How dare you insult
Mama's got
golden
your back.
greats?
I don't know. I wouldn't want it to come to that, but it's like,
yes, let it come to that.
It's just funny because
you're too kind.
It's just funny though, because it's like everybody that does this toy thing, and even the world that we're in, it's like we're not in the art world, like some things are, it's like this is considered, I guess, lowbrow work or something, of that nature.
I think it's below lowbrow.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let it be low and brow.
We're just the really bottom of the bottom
brow?
sludge kind of the art world.
Maybe. I've been criticized on national television for doing exactly the same thing. Like famous art critic,
Jerry Saltz.
Jerry Saltz told me to fucking...
But he apologized later.
Yeah, but that's a tale for another day. At the time, he had almost the same exact argument in this, is that just the fact that I'm appropriating Star Wars in my work, that somehow I'm less of an artist because of that. And, that's, to be honest with you, that's something that always, I think anybody that does that type of work asks himself at some point, am I a fucking fake artist for doing this shit? Or is like, it just begs the question, what the fuck is really art? Because someone can draw incredibly well, like L'Amour Supreme is an artist, but he's capable if, like, say he fell on hard times and he had to take a job drawing like instruction manuals for complicated VCRs. Like you make a beautiful, mechanical drawing of the inside of a VCR. Is that art? Is that art in the same way that what you do in your real work is?
If the artist is the one that's doing it, I think it's still real art. how do you classify art anyway?
Well, we're gonna probably waste the next 14 minutes trying to define that, if that's even a conversation worth fucking having.
I don't think it's a conversation worth having, but I've always likened your art or your art pieces as almost like this joke. Mm-hmm. And every time you look at it, it's a running funny joke.
That's all there is to it? That's all there is to it?
I mean, obviously the visuals and all the stuff that you do to, elevate what it actually is into something else. But I think the most important part of your art to me is like every piece makes me either chuckle or be like, that's hilarious. Or, it's like that's why I like your art, because it's a running joke. This is the thing. Not everyone gets the same joke.
It's kind of an adult joke.
Yeah, but I mean, the idea of like how funny it is and how, relevant everything is that you do, it's like, that's something that needs to be just alone appreciated, aside from you taking what you do as a form of art. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess, if you want to really unpack it rhetorically, because this isn't just about me, he says, like, if you're doing something illegal, it's not art, right? Like, that's a point I've heard people make when they talk.
If it's illegal, it's not art.
Well, didn't he say something like that? He said.
Well, yeah. This is it. If you're doing something illegal and lacking in talent, I don't care what the point is if you're doing something illegal and lacking in talent. Okay,
fine. Because I've heard you're in the street art world, right? You've dabbled in graffiti and stuff like that, or you know about it, or you know people that know people, and you may have put artwork on the street before. Sometimes, often, you do it with permission, but there have been times when you've maybe snuck something up somewhere without asking.
And I can't say that I have much talent, really.
But I'm just saying, it's like, I've heard people levy the same sort of critique against graffiti. Like, I was working at this factory in Queens a long time ago, and somebody did a little tag on the wall or a little piece, and it was okay looking piece of graffiti as far as graffiti goes, but he was really offended by it and wanted it removed. And I said, no, it's really cool, you should leave it, it's creative. And he's like, it's not art. And he's like, and I was like, why? And it's like, it's not art because I didn't give him permission to do it. And I asked him the question, well, like, okay, so maybe you don't like it because it's graffiti, but if, say, like, fucking Leonardo DiCaprio came along and put the Mona Lisa on the wall. I mean,
I would love to watch that.
I don't think so.
When Leonardo da Vinci,
You got your really
I've seen him paint. He's pretty good.
If he did it, though.
Yeah.
And it would still be.
You should play a graffiti artist.
The question, it's a joke. If Da Vinci put the Mona Lisa on a wall without permission, would it be art? And he didn't fucking have an answer, because it would be, wouldn't it? I mean, that's a false argument. Some of the greatest achievements in the world of life have been founded on some sort of crime. If people don't break the rules and be transgressive and not ask for permission, then no innovation gets made. So fungats to that,
You said it,
Well
son.
said.
What do you?
Put your own twist on it anyway, so it's like. It ain't totally copying,
But I mean, it just seems weird. Like, you draw a piece, one of your things in a book, it's art, and as soon as you put it on the wall, your
Well, I
talent.
never had to ask permission to draw on a canvas or on anything
But
really in particular.
do you think, just to get into a tangent, do you think, if you're talking about street art, the fact that it's illegal or it's being done without permission actually informs the style or the approach or the aesthetics?
I think the illegal aspect of it factors more into the artist's bio and the artist's story and the scandal around the artist, more so than like the quality of the artwork itself. I mean, art is a visual thing, obviously, but if you're going 100% like just on visuals, I think that's incredibly close-minded to a way of looking at art. It's that, like, also there's a process involved in doing things on the street, whether it's to do with what you plan or whether it's like, say, a wheat paste person. There are incredible wheat pastes on the street right now that involve hours and hours of work, whether it's a wood block print, whether it's a hand-drawn wheat paste. All of those things involve a lot of process, even down to just going out with a spray can. You have to be able to walk around without looking suspicious. You have to know what times to go out.
You have to have
be
your
able
style tight so you can bang it out.
That's another one. I mean, the first tag you do is probably always going to be shitty, but there is a process involved that I don't think that is often as transparent to the audience.
And maybe each individual piece unto itself doesn't necessarily speak to the process or the
it's like
story.
an ongoing performance, right?
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing. You could look at one psychedelic piece and be like, I don't get it. But if you look at like all 250 figures in the series, you may see some narrative thread there or not. And I mean, I think it's just not to compare myself or any of us, but like, you know, it's like Picasso, you know, is a story, you know, he's a force. And like, not every single fucking thing he did was equally as good as everything else. I'm sure he made a few clunkers in his time, but even the shitty Picassos are fucking important because Picasso made it. So.
Right. Like in our history, there's this argument
So I'm
that, you know...
Picasso, fuck you. Yes, I
There
said
you
it.
go.
I
There
said
you
it.
go.
Yes,
You
I
said
am. I'm comparing myself because it's a goddamn process. J Corp said it. Go on.
I mean, to be fair, when I watched you on TV, I also thought, you know, like, wow, I can't believe he's getting away with this. But at the same time, that was the point. Like, I can't believe, like, the joke is not, I can't believe this guy's getting away with all of this. Is actually making this into something that people actually support, right? Like, I mean, to go back to the story behind the artist, I think in history a lot of artists have been immortalized or like written into the books because of the stories around their work. I mean, talk about Duchamp, right? Like most of it is just stunting. Like all of his, you know, gallery pranks and all of these like funky concept pieces weren't really visually like, yeah, they are visually quite stunning too, but a lot of it was about the story behind it. And I think what might be missing from this kind of critique is appreciation of process that isn't just studio, that isn't just like, you know, hand to surface. It's a lot to do with, you know, the character building of the artist persona as well, which in this case is a psychedelic brand.
Would you like to be my lawyer?
No.
Okay.
My mom wants me to be a lawyer.
No,
which is
well,
like,
you make a very
I'm working very
yeah.
hard to yes, actually.
She
Yes.
sells really well.
you
She
make
should
a
be
really
a-
you make a well-reasoned case, you know, for
Thanks, I got
for all
into
of
debt in
that
art
shit.
school for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, to be honest with you, a big part of art school and being an artist, I think in general, is being able to weave a very beautiful web of bullshit around your failures. You know, right? Everybody's fucked up before and and had to fucking defend it regardless. I mean, when I was on that TV show, I knew everything that I was making was bad, and pretty much everything that the critics said against the work was all valid critiques. Yet, I had to stand there and come up with some reason why it wasn't abject garbage. And I did pretty good up until the end. But it's like, I think that's something that you learn in art school that they don't specifically teach. It's like you have to fly by your ass.
Right? And being able to stand there and defend the piece of shit that you did, you know, last night, and you're just looking at it like, this is crap. But I'm going to convince these people this is the shit.
Well, but either way, you made the show regardless.
Yeah,
Like,
I know
you
that,
made
but
the show.
I guess that was the point. I think like where I failed as an artist on that show was the work itself was terrible, but the performance of the process was really where it was. The human element of it, because like, you know, artists should also, you know, are allowed to and should fail, and their failures are also just as telling as their successes. You know, if you're looking at like the act of expression as a valid thing, and maybe people might not always like the way you do it, but just the attempt of art is something that is congratulatable, and even
Congratulatable.
and you know, also just like trying to fucking make a living.
Commendable.
Yeah,
Commendable.
congratulations. You know,
creative with our
and
words.
again, he also touches another fucking sensitive topic, which he can go fuck himself on because he works for Disney, and I know they pay really well. It's like when you're out here and you've taken, might I say, the bold stance of trying to actually make a living off your work, sink or swim, and actually commit to that, and you don't have a day job or any of that shit. You're like, this is it. You've got to make concessions, and it's like you're doing it for money, and those financial concerns, like we just talked about, always get in the way. And you know, I think it's telling of a person's creativity how they're able to take their expansive, infinite vision. You know, like if you're a creative type, you have in your mind this incredible thing you could be doing if you had all the time and money in the world, but you can't, and you have to. There's an art into itself of like, how can I distill my infinity into something specific enough that people can relate to and enjoy on a one-to-one sort of commodified transactional way. I have to turn my insanity into a product every fucking week if I'm going to eat, and that's an art unto itself, however you manage to pull it off. So fuck you. Again.
His exact words were, they just make things for the world and screw that whole eating thing, which I think is actually really, really perfect timing for you today.
I only ate once today, so yeah, screw the whole eating thing. I only ate once yesterday, so yes, screw the whole eating
Are
thing.
you starving yourself?
No, I can't afford to eat, to be honest with you. It's like I had a few bad months, and I have a high overhead, and I have my standards of what I need to operate, and like sometimes I'm flush, and sometimes I make all my rent, and sometimes I'm cool. Other times I don't, and I have to cut corners, and sometimes I skip meals, and that's too bad for me. That's the life I chose. So, screw the whole fucking eating thing. I'll eat when I make good art, and if I don't make good art, I don't eat, and that's my fucking world. So
everybody donate. This dude.
And with that, I'd like to
joking. He's really
thank you everybody for joining us on the Super Suck Hour. We have in the studio L'Amour Supreme. You can find him on Instagram at
L'Amour Supreme.
Yes, all your social media is just L'Amour Supreme. Okay, so you're on Snapchat too now. You love Snapchat. Everybody.
I'm not really using it yet. I just like trying to figure it out because it's so foreign compared to Instagram.
Took like 6 snaps right before you started the show.
I don't know what you're talking about, Nesty.
He's testing it out.
Where do we find you on the socials?
Just my name, Sarah Wang Arts. That's
Ah.
Sarah with an H, Wang, W-A-N-G.
There you go. She's a winner, and we're gonna hear more from her in the future. You're beyond social media.
I hate everybody.
Yes. Okay.
Let me get this right. It's JCorpTM on every platform.
It's WSTDTLNT.
Yes, we know.
On every platform.
I want to thank Lasso Pizza for the delicious pizza that's been certified by some friends of ours. And that all worked out really great. I'm the Super Sucklord. I'd like to give a shout out to the Crystal Pharaoh for making all the beats that you heard tonight. We're gonna have him on the show sooner or later. You can find us everywhere at the Suck Hour. I'm the Sucklord66 on Snapchat, and I'm the Sucklord on Periscope. Although I don't like Periscope. In the last 3 minutes, I want to tell you this little funny anecdote about what happened on Periscope that ties back to this thing. I got on Periscope to stream my stuff, and we didn't really know what to shoot. Snapchat is easy because it's so fast. Periscope is long form, so you got to do stuff. Trying to figure out what to do, and it wasn't really connecting. It was getting like 30, 40 viewers. You were on my Periscope. Yours was successful because you're an attractive woman. And what happened, this is what I found out. On fucking Periscope is nothing but a bunch of fucking perverts. Nobody cares about anything else. No, but it's just like...
That's why I'm not on Periscope.
Shout out to my follower, though.
Yeah, to your follower. Be careful, because everybody's like, show your process, show your works. I'm like, okay. Yeah, so I go on Periscope, and I'm making these things, and I'm explaining, I'm mixing the resin now, and then this is how I do it, and let me give you some advice as someone who's been there. Like, if you're just getting started, all this open source shit, 8 fucking viewers. Nobody gives a shit. A friend of mine, who we'll get to know eventually, a female, protege that I'm keeping in the shadows until the time is right, she went on Periscope, and I mentioned on my Periscope, go follow her. So, like, 3 of my followers started following her, and then when she went on, her whole Periscope was, I'm getting dressed to go out. And there was a few moments where she took off her shirt and her tits were out, and she was talking to the camera, her tits out, and she's really cute. 600 followers, like within like 30 seconds, and it's just like these guys just refer it to each other, and I'm like, why am I even doing this? Why am I even fucking doing this? So my thing for Periscope is now I'm not gonna Periscope unless there's cheesecake, unless there's tits and ass involved. So I have something planned for the future on my Periscope that's going to involve some frontals. So pay attention, be patient. I get new followers on Periscope all the time, and I feel like I'm letting them down because I'm not offering them anything. But just wait. Just wait. Just you wait. And there we go.
Yay!
Okay. All right, that's everybody okay?
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
You okay?